right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to look at our own still life. And I've made your display in the middle of your table. I'm going to come around and check those when we're ready to get started. This is the one that I'm going to be working from today. Ooh, paper airplanes. And I'm going to set it over here, and I'm going to be looking at it. Whoa. Well, I'm drawing it. So I wish I could be like the guy in the video we watched where you could see what I'm drawing and my drawing next to each other, but unfortunately I don't have the technology. So I'm going to give you a big piece of paper, and you're going to start out by just folding it in half like a book, okay? And this is the paper I'm going to use, and you want to try to draw as large as you can. In fact, if it's so big that it runs off the paper, that's absolutely okay. I'd rather it be too big than too small. So I'm going to start kind of with my sketch, and I'm looking at what I see, and kind of the tricky part, for me at least, is my brain sees this paper airplane, and it wants to say, hey, you already know what a paper airplane looks like. You don't need to look at this, but my brain is wrong. I need to look at it and observe from it. So the first thing I'm noticing is the angle where the closest airplane kind of meets the cardboard. And my angle is it was too big, wasn't small enough. So I'm starting out there. Now I'm looking at the way the angle of the wing sort of intersects that. And it's going to go kind of like this, a little higher. And it's going to eventually run off the page. So now I'm going to change this. That's why I kind of always sketch lightly. And now I've got the pointy part coming at me. And then it goes back into this wing. And I'm just sort of looking at my still life more than I look at my paper and kind of check those angles. And then I can kind of start to look here and say, okay, and that angle still isn't right. So, there. So I ran into a little trouble here, and that's okay. This one. And so my sketches are definitely not finished drawings. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of trying to get this, I keep sort of changing my mind, as basic as possible, and I need to quit being so nitpicky and move on. Now, the interesting thing to me when I look at this is I can see the other wing, but it's very, very kind of small because of the angle I'm looking at. And it looks to me like it comes like this. Now, my brain is telling me, that wing is going to come all the way out here. But what I'm seeing from the angle I'm at is not that. So I'm supposed to draw what I see, not what my brain's telling me it sees, but the way that it looks. Also, the pointy part of this airplane has a little bit of a gap in it. So I see kind of a shadow and two highlights. I'm going to definitely want to pay attention to that when I'm starting to add color. So now, behind the magenta airplane, I see a yellow one. And so I'm looking at the way the angle kind of connects here. That's the center that I'm seeing. And then this part goes up, kind of like that. And this part goes over. It does have a small angle to it. It doesn't go straight out, so I'll put that in there. And then the lines I'm seeing now go parallel to each other. So this line is going to be parallel to this one. Again, it's running right off the page. This one is also parallel. Almost parallel, just a little bit not. And that's okay. Now, under these wings, I kind of see a little bit of the yellow base coming out. So that's going to be kind of like that. And this one also has a gap between the two halves, so that's going to come kind of down like this. And lastly, I see my folded edges. I go down like that. And I really don't like sketching with a mechanical pencil. So if you have one and you're like me and you're like, ooh, this is not my jam, you can go over to the cabinet and get yourself a regular pencil for sure. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm seeing here. And it's got a weird kind of tip. This doesn't really want to connect. It's kind of got a gap in it, and that's A-okay. Now, over here, I see the final airplane, which is a black airplane. Each one of your displays has a warm color, a cool color, and then a neutral color. Black is a neutral color. So this black one's kind of hiding in the shadows, and I'm thinking it's about halfway between this space. So I'm going to come kind of straight down, and then it angles up over this way. It does not cross over that yellow wing, so I make sure, this is yellow for those of you who don't know, so I make sure it is lower than that, and then I see its wing coming out, and the rest of it kind of goes off the paper. So I don't have everything on here. It was kind of big and it runs right off the edge of the paper, and that's fine, okay? This is my first sketch. Now you will notice some hot glue on your cardboard because I hot glued them together so they wouldn't move. You don't have to draw the hot glue, just kind of ignore it, pretend it's not there, because when we try to paint it later, it's going to be kind of a lot. But you have to draw this still life 4 times. Just like if you're trying to hit a baseball and somebody's pitching it to you and you got the bat, you're going to try to swing at it more than 1 time. So we're going to draw this more than 1 time. Every time you want to make sure you're paying attention to your angles, your proportions, and how they relate to one another, and working large. So when you're done, you're going to just flip your paper over and draw your second one. Once I've drawn my second one, whoa, it's amazing. You're going to take your paper and fold it in half the other way. And then you've got a place to draw your third one and a place to draw your fourth one. When you look at your table, you will see some red tape that has some lines on it. No one should ever touch the still life display, but if it does get bumped, we use those lines to kind of make sure it gets back to the exact place it was before, okay? Because if you match up those corners, it's going to help. You're also going to see a number, so you'll know which number you drew, and you'll make sure you have the same one next time. I usually write my name kind of small at the bottom of my drawing or the top, usually in a corner, so I might write Mrs. Sneed, and I need to, whoops, I misspelled my own name. You need to write your art number, and then you might also want to write the number of the still life that you were drawing, just in case you forget, okay? So we're going to start on our sketches. However far we get is how far we get, and we'll pick up exactly where we left off next class, okay? We'll have more than 1 day to draw these, and then later we'll talk about painting and adding color.